evening. The time is 6:55. The date is October the 27th, 2017. And I just wanted to do a thing where it's Friday nights with the pastor, which is Friday nights with Pastor Brother Isaac Davd Brigmond. Like a short few minutes with me every Friday night, just talking. Because if you know me, you know that I'm the pastor of the Christian Hearts Christian Fellowship online ministry. And I wanted to talk to y'all tonight about just little random subjects. Like one, I got a recipe for y'all, and I will have from time to time recipes that y'all will probably like. I got one recipe where you take hold on. I got one recipe where you take, you can either use frozen or you can use fresh. If it's frozen, it means that it's one you stick in a fryer or you fry it on the stove. If it's fresh, it means you have to clean it, cook it. It could be fresh as in like fresh from, no, when it comes to meats, some meats take, like if it's frozen, it could be two kinds of frozen. It could be fresh and frozen, which means you take it home raw, right out of a freezer from a store, and then you work on it. Or either it's already done been breaded and it's waiting for you to stick in a fryer or on the stove to fry. If it's completely fresh, it means you got it from someone who just not too long got it from somewhere and then selling it to you, or either you caught it yourself. Like fish, if it was fish, it could be frozen fish, which means like fish sticks, frozen fish fillets or something. Or it could be raw meat that is frozen and then you buy it and then you work on it. Like here's one where you take either breaded shrimp that's already breaded that was in the frozen food section for like $1 or something a box, with so many in them that you stick in a fryer or a air fryer or a or either a pan fried. Well, you could either do that or you could either take and if not that, you could take and put it and get fresh one. You could get fresh shrimp or you could get fresh shrimp that's frozen. But anyway, you take that and you can either make your own little teeny potato cubes, or either you can take and buy the bags of potato cubes that they call hash browns, which is really just a bag full of nothing but potato cubes. And what you do is you cook your shrimp. Now you cook it according to the instructions. If it's fresh shrimp, then the instructions are, if it's not been cleaned already, you got to clean the shrimp, devein it, and all that. But if it is shrimp that's already been breaded and is waiting on you to stick in a deep fryer, air fryer, or on a pan on the stove, or in a pan on the stove, then you have to do that. But you do the shrimp and potatoes, you do either fresh potatoes or the ones that's already in the bag, frozen. And when you cook that recipe, you mix the two together on a plate. If the two ingredients that you're cooking is already made up and is in the frozen section, like frozen battered shrimp that needs to be stuck in a fryer, or either the potatoes are either frozen too, then all you do is, like what I would do if I was you, is if you have an air fryer, put both the potatoes and the shrimp in the air fryer when they're still frozen, and make sure you take you some spray and you spray either the bottom of the little air fryer filtered pot that you use, like the fryer filtered pots that they have, when you're frying fish or whatever. Or you could take the ingredients and just stick them in that little filtered pot and then spray that. Either way, you could do that. But at some point you have to make sure that on your plate you have both a bed of potatoes and shrimp, but mixed together, like a bed of shrimp and potatoes on your plate. And then you could use whatever sauce you want to use on top of that and make a meal out of it, like a pile of food type meal, where it's a mixed bed, where the bed is made out of potatoes and shrimp mixed together. And you could put ranch dressing on it, or you could put what you want to on it. That is considered, I guess you could make a joke, like they say about them garbage plates, and you could make a joke and call it like a 2-ingredient garbage plate, I guess you could say, like shrimp and potatoes mixed together. I mean, I don't know. You call it what you want to, but it's a good thing to do for you families that have a low budget. Like if you don't have a lot of money to spend, but you can afford to buy these ingredients. If your family likes potatoes and your family likes shrimp, you could do that. And if you wanted to, if you still wanted more to eat, you could get you one of those Nora side items, which is those bags of rice or pasta that don't cost nothing but so many dollars or cents. And also another recipe is, I'm going to call it Pastor Isaac Davd Brigmond's Pick Me Up. My recipe that I found that worked, and I labeled it that because I was telling y'all about it. If this recipe already exists, then it does already exist. But if not, I'm telling it to you for the first time. Get you some coffee, either regular coffee or instant coffee. Get you some honey. Get you some of that. Go into Walmart's and go into the medicine section of Walmart's. Go where the shakes are in Walmart's. Get you some shake. My advice is to get the cookies and cream shake. It's in the big old tubs. It's probably about 16 or 17 something dollars. And what you do, you get that shake, you get the honey, you get the chocolate syrup, preferably sugar-free chocolate syrup. Get some liquid creamer. If you have powdered creamer too, mix it in there. If not, just the liquid creamer. You could add sugar or sweetener, but I advise try it without any kind of sweeteners, but make sure you got sweetener on standby just in case it don't taste good enough. Maybe get you one of those teeny little teaspoons or a baby spoon and dip out about 6 spoons of that shake. And then also make sure that if it's machine coffee you're using, I say about 10 or 20 baby spoonfuls of coffee. Like you get, like you take a little bit of one of them. You know those little kits you can get where it's like a bunch of baby spoons in a container, like one of those cardboard and plastic containers you have to tear apart to get to them, where they're all different colors. Well, get one of those kits that has a bunch of spoons in it, baby spoons, and get one out. And what you do, you dip out about 10 or 20 of those spoonfuls of coffee into the coffee maker and make the coffee. Now, I had invented a new way to mix this all up. I had I had a French press, but it messed up on me because it didn't want to do right. Because you know how when those things get old, because mine was a used one I got from the Salvation Army, and I should have known. But that metal piece that screws on to that pole that you pump up and down on the press, if you take everything off of it but that little wheel there, and you pump it up and down after you put all those ingredients in the French press with the already made coffee. Then it'll mix it up like a little churn or mixer without power, like a hand powered churn or a hand powered mixer. And also, if you don't use the machine coffee, then instant coffee can work as well. And you could also take this on the go with you if you needed to when you're going on a vacation somewhere and you're not going to be able to lug around this big old mixer or a big old blender or a big old hand mixer. Because like me, I got one of those little uh, liquid mixers, the ones that mix up liquid stuff. And but anyhow, I just thought to tell you that. And something else I wanted to talk to y'all about was, do y'all realize that we're coming into a day and age when we see a lot of destructions in the church? And the church has been fought, and I say the church, I mean the church as we know it in the world we live in today. I mean, we live in a world of we have to have church. We need to have church. Hold on. If I made a racket, I'm sorry. We have to have church, or we need church. And we don't seem to take that seriously enough, because we think that if people don't want to go, then it's their business, their life, their lifestyle, and all that, and we shouldn't be bothering these people. But what we don't understand is if we don't say something about it, we're going to find out that they'll let the whole practice of church fall apart. And like I've seen pastors these days get to the point now where they fall away from church because they don't understand what's going on. Oh, by the way, folks, I'm going to be doing a Patreon account for this ministry that I'm doing here with the Jesus Heart Radio, because I want y'all to show y'all support for us. You treat excuse my language. Sometimes I'll start to say something and my brain goes without my mouth. You treat the donations as if you're giving donations to a church ministry. So don't treat it as if you're giving this to a person. Treat it as if you're giving this to God, because God wants to be able to one day give me a building to preach in. And when I do, I'm being honest with y'all right now. Y'all are more than welcome to come once I get a building going. And you can see that I did not lie to y'all about the money, because I want people to understand that I'm not keeping money for myself. If I keep money for myself, it's because of a living cost of living. But beyond that, a lot of it don't even go nowhere wouldn't go nowhere but to the ministry. And you know what? I'm not the richest person in the world. I don't tell everything about myself, because I know